It's a week-long festival of parties, parades, and celebration of the end of the year and the start of the new one. But to the people of Nebraska, the Orange Bowl is first and foremost a football game. It's a game that gives the Midwest Big 8 Football League a chance to prove its might against the leading conference in the southeastern part of the nation. And this year, it's even more important to Nebraskans because it's a chance to prove that our state is again an outstanding football state. Within the hour, the Big 8 champion Nebraska Cornhuskers will charge into action in the Orange Bowl Stadium against the Southeast Conference champs, the Auburn Tigers. This program will set the stage for that game and tell the story of the Huskers' trip to the Orange Bowl. This is the Cornhusker Orange Bowl Special.
Show up for the game and give our very best efforts. I believe that it's very difficult to predict a game, and it is very foolish, even if you have an inclination, to try to predict the outcome of a football game.
You have indicated publicly that there is perhaps some difficulty between the Big 8 and the Orange Bowl, and that if Nebraska doesn't make, quote, a good showing this year, unquote, the contract might be terminated.
Well, I feel this way, that the Big 8 the last 2 years have been beaten rather badly by Southeastern Conference teams. We're playing another Southeastern Conference team this year. And I think that the Orange Bowl committee and the Big 8 has no difficulties. I think it's they're very friendly, but I think that no committee or no bowl game is going to take the champion of the conference very consistently if they're not winning. And I mean that that is the situation. In our case, the pact has to be renewed and at the end of this year, and I think a victory by the University of Nebraska could help this quite a bit.
Would you like to see the Big 8 not have a firm bowl pact and in a situation where they might accept a bid to some other major bowl?
Oh, I don't believe that it makes a great deal of difference. I think it's well for the Big 8 to have a tie-up with the Orange Bowl. I think the Orange Bowl is one of the finest, if not the finest, bowl in the country. I sincerely feel that this is perhaps the top bowl game in the country. They are the one bowl that are assured of good climate, and you're down there. It's a very nice area to be in, and I hope that the pact is kept up, irregardless of whether we're in Miami for the game or not. I think it's a fine thing. There are other teams in the conference that have a right to accept other bowl games also that are not played on the same day. So it is conceivable that a Big 8 team could be competing in the Orange Bowl, another Big 8 team, for example, in the Gator Bowl, another one in the Bluebonnet Bowl. This is all possible. So really they're not restricted by competing in the Orange Bowl, on the champion competing in the Orange Bowl.
There's taking place an enormous migration of Nebraskans to Miami for the Orange Bowl game. It must be extremely gratifying to see so many faithful alumni and Nebraska football fans following your team.
This is a very fine thing, John. We've received some fine support the 2 years since we've been here from the fans and from the alumni, of course, and we appreciate very much this tremendous following that we have had.
And in regards to the Orange Bowl, will your starting lineup be the same as it was for Oklahoma?
Yes, fundamentally it will be, unless there are some injuries suffered in practice. We don't anticipate doing much of any scrimmaging, but it should be about the same as the group that started our last game with Oklahoma.
I also put a question asking for a prediction on the Orange Bowl outcome to Athletic Director Tippy Dye at the Hotel Lincoln.
Well, I'm afraid I can't do that, but I will say this, we have two plus fine football teams there at the university, I think, and I don't care who we're playing, whether it's Auburn or Oklahoma or Texas or who it happens to be. I feel that we have a fine chance of winning in any game that we go into.
Nebraska's triumphant win over Oklahoma, and the day the team left for Miami, winter closed in on Nebraska. Snow covered the practice field and temperatures plunged into the zero range. Thus, Coach Devaney was forced to take the boys into the field house for practice. This film of one of the last workouts before the trip shows how there wasn't room for full-fledged drills, but the team worked hard on passing and backfield ball handling and on blocking, as well as on general conditioning. Denny Claridge and Fred Duda kept their passing arms limbered up, and Bob Brown went to work trimming off the pounds added on the banquet circuit. Devaney and his assistants started building up the team for the Orange Bowl Challenge. Also during this period, films of 4 Auburn games were charted, studied, and shown to the team. The coaches went to work on defensing plans, but the situation didn't permit actual drills on defensing Auburn-type plays by the team. Then on Sunday, December 22nd, in 13 degrees below zero, early morning cold, members of the team and their wives and members of the staff, the coaches and their wives and families, boarded buses at Sully Quadrangle on the Nebraska campus and left on the first leg of their trip to Miami.
He's just checked his bag in. Dennis, did you have any trouble getting up this morning?
No, I didn't. I slept in Ken McLuhan's room, and he wakes up early, it seems like every morning, so he got me up all right.
Great. You all set? How's your leg feel?
Feels real good. I'm real anxious to go in the game with it.
And the rest of the team in pretty good shape for this game?
I think so. I think possibly Rudy Johnson's foot might be by him just a little bit, but otherwise than that, it's okay.
What does the team have planned in Miami in the way of entertainment and having fun a little bit?
Actually, I haven't looked at the itinerary an awful lot. I know the day after we have a deep sea fishing contest with Auburn, and I know at one time or two the wives and daughters of some of the coaches and wives of the players and all that get to go to a fashion show, and I think we have a little Christmas party, and otherwise than that, I'm not real sure.
Furman checked with Bob Brown on the early rise that the trip required.
This is Bob Brown. Bob, have any trouble getting up this morning?
A little bit. This is about the earliest I've ever been up since I've been at the university here.
Bob, are you all set physically?
Well, maybe not quite, but I figure by the first of this year I'll be ready.
Get down, pare down in that Florida sunshine a little bit and maybe work off a little of those pounds, huh?
Yes, sir. That's what I hope to do.
Well, Bob, best of luck to you and the team, and we'll all be rooting for you for bringing us home with a victory.
Sure hope so. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob.
Next NU player to turn to the microphone was halfback Willie Ross, who had been hurt in the Oklahoma game.
Willie Ross here. Willie, 7 o'clock in the morning, have any trouble getting up?
It's too early for me.
I know.
Not used to it.
How's your leg feel?
Fine.
In good shape?
Oh, yeah. Real good physical condition. The only thing I'm worried about now is the sun.
The sun, right. Freezing cold now. You're going to be in real hot, warm weather. I understand Miami is basking in sunshine today, and ought to be great shape for a football game down there.
That's right. I won't regret it, any. I tell you, I like to hurry up and get down there, you see, because I'm tired of this cold weather right now.
Boy, good luck to you, Willie. Thank you very much.
Co-captain John Kirby was sporting a rancher's hat when Furman asked him about the Orange Bowl.
This is one of the co-captains of the Nebraska team, John Kirby. John, are you all set?
We're all set and ready to go, I think. I hope.
John, how much sleep did you have last night?
Very little. As a matter of fact, only got 2 hours. Kind of excited about getting off the ground and down to Miami and playing Auburn.
What do you think it means, John, to have the crowd and the team, crowd behind the team and this big migration to Miami?
I think it's a great thing. It shows a lot of spirit towards the school and towards the team. I'm quite excited about the migration, and I think it's a good thing.
John, you're a senior this year, and what do you think has been your highlight over your college career?
Well, I can't say it's anything else other than going to the Orange Bowl this year. This is the greatest thing for me.
Well, John, best of luck to you and the team.
Thank you very much.
This is Bob Devaney. Bob, how do the boys look this morning?
They look a little sleepy, just the same way I am.
Bob, did you have a chance to do any work on defense or offense for Auburn?
Well, we hoped that we accomplished something. We were in the field house. We worked on our offense and didn't have much time to spend on defense due to the lack of room.
And what do you figure your drills will be down there?
Well, we'll start out by our general practice schedule that we maintain during the season, and of course we'll have to catch up on some of those things that we didn't get done here.
Coach Bob Devaney, best of luck to you at the Orange Bowl, and bring us back a victory.
Thank you.
Finally, all were aboard, a party of 119 Nebraska loyal, and the big jet left the frozen Midlands for Miami. At 7:20, the plane was landed in the 71-degree Miami sunshine. Coats and mufflers were discarded as the team arrived in a holiday spirit. Members of the Orange Bowl committee and the always present, thank heavens, pretty girls were on hand to welcome the Nebraskans. Coach Devaney and co-captain Denny Claridge were put into position for picture taking. Devaney got a football. Orange Bowl queen Jane Heffinger was on hand. Devaney called Willie Ross into the posing group. And, of course, there was the expected basket of oranges. Bob Brown soaked up the sunshine. Assistant coach Carl Selmer deplanes. John Kirby still sported his Western hat. Norrie Anderson, ex-Nebraskan on the Orange Bowl staff, was there. Tony Jeter and Bob Brown wore smiles in the warmth. The team and the party were given a VIP's escort as they moved from the airport to the Ivanhoe Hotel. Thousands of other Nebraskans, including 1,000 or more students at NU and thousands of alumni, have followed the team. Some left together and organized chartered trips by air. Others went individually and in small groups by plane, train, and car. The NU band departed from Lincoln on Sunday the 29th with uniforms and instruments. They have plans to make a good show for the state before the game and at halftime, just as they did in the King Orange Bowl parade, telecast coast to coast on ABC and Channel 7 last night and this morning. As many as 10,000 Nebraska rooters are expected in the Big Orange Bowl Stadium for the game. The latest weather report indicates skies have cleared from yesterday, and the forecast is for a temperature of 66 degrees and partly cloudy skies when the game begins. Meanwhile, in Auburn, Alabama, head coach Ralph Shug Jordan, or Jordan as hometown folks call him, was taking advantage of good weather in the 3 weeks between the end of the Southeast Conference play and the Orange Bowl to hold daily outdoor workouts and sharpen up his Southeast Conference championship squad for the bowl game. There's All-American Jimmy Seidel. Look at this cross-country Seidel pass. The Auburn line is advertised as fast, and here's some of their workout. This is called ball chasing. The Auburn team made the short hop to Miami after Christmas. Their welcome was wholehearted. There's Jordan, first off the plane. Next, coming down the gangplank, Jimmy Seidel, and he gets a kiss of hello from the Orange Bowl queen. The ball and the oranges for the coach and All-American Seidel. Auburn set up hotel headquarters and, like Nebraska, began to interweave the fun of Florida with hard workouts, putting the finishing touches on the team for the game. It has been leading up all week to today's football game. Thousands of fans have gone from Nebraska to Miami. It's possible that Nebraska will unveil a long practice but so far unused halfback pass play today. Watch for it. And you can look for Auburn to utilize a third down punt when the ball is deep in their own territory. Of course, you can expect Nebraska to show Auburn a variety of ball carriers and a couple of quarterbacks. And likewise, expect Auburn to rely primarily on Jimmy Seidel to bring home the oranges. This will surely be an exciting football game. Both coaches have brought their teams to a fine edge. Nebraska's big line's going to have to put a hard charge on Jimmy Seidel to stop Auburn's All-American option artist, whose judgment on the pitch and the pass run plays has won Auburn the favorites role in today's game. Nebraska's second and third units will have to keep the pressure on when the Florida sun bears down on the starters. If they can, we will celebrate another important Cornhusker victory.
And the Cornhuskers of the University of Nebraska, the Big 8 champions. Each team has a 9-1 record, and it figures to be quite an afternoon. In just a moment, Paul Crispin, our football expert, will be giving us a look at the two teams.
Jim, we've made a couple of representative films, just a few pictures of what they do. And Auburn does some unusual things. For example, they use two kinds of sets after leaving the huddle. Now let's watch this.
Okay.
Bobby Brown, who is an All-American, Auburn, in looking at their films, there they are right there on defense now in the dark jerseys. There's a 7-yard loss they're picking up against Oklahoma, 7 or 8 yards. Brown is their All-American. Auburn considers Voss as good as Brown, and Kirby is considered by his coach Devaney as good as the two of them. There's a fine stop there again. If the end doesn't get him or the linebacker doesn't get him, the outside halfback does. That's the way Nebraska has played ball.
Commentary from Paul Crispin. Take a look and see what happened when I visited both teams on Miami Beach. This is the Atlantic Ocean on a beautiful day in Miami, the temperature about 80 degrees. And these are football players from the University of Nebraska, some of whom have never even seen the ocean before, let alone bathed and swum in it. Hey, Monty. That's Monty Kiffin, a big tackle for the University of Nebraska, who has just made possibly his first catch of the year, huh?
Yes, sir. I'm not an in.
Have you ever seen this ocean before, Monty?
No, I haven't.
What do you think of it?
Oh, it's real nice. It's really some sight to see. We've enjoyed ourselves real much on it.
Is it different than the kind of water you have to swim in back home in the summertime?
Yeah, I believe it's a little different. The salt water, we're not used to that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, help me get you in shape anyway, huh?
Yeah.
Good luck to you, Monty.
Thank you very much.
Here we have Bob Hahn, who is a halfback from Beatrice, Nebraska. Is that right?
That's right, sir. Yes, sir.
Bob, what's the feeling playing in a bowl game? You haven't played in one before, have you?
No, I got to go to the Gotham Bowl last year, but I didn't get to play. It's really great.
Is it a different orientation here under a warm, beneficent tropical sun and so forth, rather than the atmosphere you're used to before a regular season game?
Much more. It's just much more exciting than a regular game.
Okay, good luck to you, Bob.
Thank you.
Here we have Lloyd Voss, tackle from Magnolia, Minnesota, who is the #1 draft choice of the Green Bay Packers, #2 of the New York Jets, and fairly obvious, you're a pretty big boy. What have you been doing here besides swimming in the ocean? Have you...
Laying in the sun, seeing some of Miami. They have taken us to a couple of places as a team on the evenings, on scheduled evenings.
Yeah. But you're having a pretty good time in addition to practicing hard for the ball game, huh? Here's another one of the players. This is Maynard Smith, a halfback from, how do you pronounce that?
From Cozad, Jim.
Cozad, Nebraska. Right. How far north is that, Maynard?
Oh, that's from here?
Yeah.
It's in Nebraska, and it's about 1,700 miles from here, I believe, sir.
Can you define the feeling of what it's like to get ready for a postseason bowl game, a big one like this that means so much to Nebraska?
Well, of course, we've been looking forward to this, and I've been looking forward to it all my life, and it's really a great thrill, and it's something I always remember, I believe, and something I always look back and remember all the good feelings and the great times we had here.
Okay, good luck to you in the game. Here we have Larry Tomlinson, a senior end from O'Neill, Nebraska. You don't look like you got as much sun as the other guys.
No, it's been kind of cold for me. I don't like cold weather.
You don't like cold weather? I think it's been all the way down to 65 sometimes.
Yes, I heard it was warmer in Nebraska there one day than it was here.
Not today, though, I don't think.
No, not today. I don't think so.
Here's Bob Jones, a tackle from West Point, Nebraska. Has no connection with a place with a similar name, does it?
No.
Okay, well, Bob, you all ready for this ball game?
Yeah, as ready as we'll be.
Is it difficult to stay in training to keep your mind on the important business at hand while you're in an atmosphere like this?
Oh, no, I don't think so. We came down here to win the game. I think we had that on mind.
And that's mostly on your mind even when you're out here basking and bathing in the ocean.
So.
Okay, Bob, good luck to you. Some of the fellas from the University of Nebraska preparing under the sun for the Orange Bowl game. And there they go into that Atlantic Ocean. It's the 30th annual Orange Bowl Football Classic, featuring the nation's 5th-ranked team, the Tigers of Auburn, against the Cornhuskers of Nebraska, the 6th team in the nation. Here, perhaps, is the most beautiful sight in the United States today, the Orange Bowl in Miami, jammed with more than 72,000 people, absolute capacity, and under magnificent Florida skies. The sun is shining. It's very warm, 72 degrees, and here's the way the city of Miami, Biscayne Bay, and Miami Beach look from our Goodyear blimp. Hovering overhead, as it will be all through the afternoon, we'll be seeing some of the action, and there's the Orange Bowl itself, as viewed from that Goodyear blimp. A beautiful sight in a beautiful town. The temperature, I was just about to say, is 72 degrees. There's a slight breeze, however, so that the conditions for the football players of Auburn and Nebraska should be just about right. There's a look at the blimp itself, the Goodyear blimp with the camera inside it. There you see a look at the football field on which these fellows...
Happy New Year, everybody. And today we should see a great game in the Orange Bowl. Auburn, the Cinderella team, unranked before the season, rolled through with 9 wins and 1 loss, losing only to Mississippi State by 3 points. And Nebraska returned to the glory days it used to know, as Nebraska won the Big 8 Conference, lost only 1 game, that to the Air Force, by 4 points. 2 marvelous teams, all primed, and Paul Crispin will be analyzing the game. I'll be calling the play-by-play. And first of all, Paul, what about this big Nebraska team that averages 232 pounds in the line?
Kurt, they're not only big, they're fast, as we spoke about in the pregame show, and also everyone has heard of Bob Brown, and of course rightfully so, because he's 6'4", 269, and he moves around just as big as some of the big fast pros we've talked about all year. However, there's Willie Ross, for example, number 21, who's left half and probably the fastest man on this field, will be playing for Nebraska. But I think the great equalizer on this Nebraska ball club, and one not too well publicized, although he's had quite a bit of publicity, but not the greatest, was Dennis Claridge, their quarterback. He is not a great passer, and he's not a great runner, but he's pretty good, and he keeps this ball club nice and level, and he's done an excellent job all year. He's really a balancing act in there.
That's Nebraska, Paul, and incidentally, fans, they led the nation in rushing this year and limited their opponents to under 100 yards in rushing. Now Auburn came through a real Cinderella team, Paul.
Yes, Auburn will be using that I formation, and we saw some of that pre-shift business that we have seen in our pregame show. Seidel, of course, is their big man, their quarterback number 12. And it'll be the run-pass option, and he does this very well, and he does it about 60% of the time for their offense.
All right, that's the pregame look. And now let's go down in the field to Jim McKay.
Okay, Kurt, thanks very much. And here they come, marching out smartly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 bands all together, marching onto the turf of the Orange Bowl. This is the 30th anniversary, the pearl anniversary of the Orange Bowl, and great clouds of orange smoke suddenly are rising into the air. Just behind the band, here is the most significant float here on the field at the moment, the 30th anniversary. These bands are from Hialeah High, Southwest Miami, Coral Gables, Miami Jackson, North Miami, Miami Senior High, Northwestern High School, the Auburn University Band, and the Nebraska Band. And obviously is the Hialeah Band, dressed as jockeys. Okay, thanks very much, Kurt. We're down on the field again, and standing with me is the president of the Orange Bowl Committee this year, Ben Benjamin. B. Boyd Benjamin, formerly, but our good friend Benny. Good to see you.
Thank you, Jim. Isn't it a beautiful day?
You have got it, man.
This is perfect. This really is.
All we need is the football now, and I think it's pretty sure that we're going to get it.
I think we're going to have one of the best football games we've ever had in 30 years. Everything just has worked fine for us. Nebraska's a great ball club, and so is Auburn. I saw Auburn twice this year. They're fast as lightning.
I know that you have to travel around a good deal during the fall looking at many teams, don't you, before you make your selection for this game?
We looked at about 10 or 15 teams this year before we...
56, Mike Alford, 215-pound junior from Fort Walton, Florida. At left guard, number 65, Steve Osborne from Birmingham, Alabama, a 205-pound senior. These are the Tigers of Auburn. The right guard, number 60, Bill Van Dyke, 200-pound senior from Atlanta. Here's the left tackle now, number 72, Jack Thornton from Washington, Georgia, 210 pounds and a sophomore. The right tackle, number 62, Don Heller, a 205-pound junior from Cleveland, Ohio. Here is the left end, number 84, Howard Simpson, 232 pounds, a senior from Marietta, Georgia. The right end, number 83, Bucky Wade, 195-pound junior from Springville, Alabama. Here's the quarterback, one of the tops in the country, number 12 today, Jimmy Seidel of Birmingham, Alabama. All-American. And now the left halfback, number 20, Tucker Frederickson, 215-pound junior from Hollywood, Florida. The right halfback, number 44, George Rose, 193 pounds, a senior from Brunswick, Georgia. The fullback, number 30, Larry Rawson from Pensacola, Florida, 200-pound senior. Defensive linebacker specialist, number 11, Bill Cody of Orlando, Florida, a sophomore, 195 pounds. Defensive halfback specialist, number 27, Billy Edge of Jasper, Alabama, a junior. Those, then, are the Tigers of Auburn. Now let's have a quick word with their coach, Big George Chickadee, manager, Nebraska. First of all, here's the center, number 54, Ron Mitchka from Omaha, Nebraska, 204-pound senior. The left guard, number 68, John Kirby, 218-pound senior from David City, Nebraska, co-captain. At right guard, number 64, All-American Bob Brown, a senior from Cleveland, Ohio. The left tackle, number 75, Larry Kramer, 231 pounds, a junior from Austin, Minnesota. Right tackle, number 71, Lloyd Foss of Magnolia, Minnesota, 245-pound senior. Left end, number 83, Larry Tomlinson, 204-pound senior from O'Neill, Nebraska. Right end, number 84, Tony Jeter from Weirton, West Virginia, a sophomore, 203 pounds. The great quarterback of the University of Nebraska, number 14, Dennis Claridge of Robbinsdale, Minnesota. The left halfback will be number 21, Willie Ross of Helena, Arkansas, a senior, 199 pounds. The right halfback, number 18, Bob Hahn of Beatrice, Nebraska, a junior, 175 pounds. And had those boys the first time. The fullback is number 31, Rudy Johnson of Arkansas Pass, Texas, a senior. Specialist, a defensive end, number 80, Dick Callahan of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, a senior. Defensive tackle, number 77, Monty Kippen of Lexington, Nebraska, a senior, 253 pounds. And a defensive tackle specialist, number 74, Bob Jones of West Point, Nebraska, a senior, 232 pounds. Number 44, Gene Young. Fullback. Number 23, Dave Tyson. Number 77, and here's Coach Bob Devaney. He can tell you who this fellow is coming out here. 77.
77 was Monty Kippen.
Monty Kippen. Right. Okay, well, I think we've got just about all the boys we have time for right now. This is Coach Bob Devaney of Nebraska.
All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to, at this time, introduce our fellow officials. Mr. Bradford will be your back judge. Mr. Bradford will be the field judge. Mr. George will be your back judge. Mr. Hicks will be your umpire. Mr. Bowles will be your headline. All right. Now, Auburn, who will do the talking for you? Let's take a look at the coin. This is tails, and this is heads. I'll flip the coin in the air. If I miss it, we will do it again. Call the coin when it's in the air, please. I'll catch it. All right? Okay. He calls heads. Heads it is. You've won the toss. You want to defend that goal? Okay. Good luck, dear. Who did? Okay. All right. You defend that goal. Now what do you want to do, sir? You want to receive? All right. Will you put your backs to the goals, please? You step over here. You're going to kick off, right? Nebraska, receive down here. All right, captains. If at any time you do not understand my options, ask me to repeat them. Do you have any questions? All right, let's shake hands. Boys, good luck to all of you. Good luck. Okay.
The 5 other players you saw in the background for Auburn at the toss of the coin ceremony were seniors. There are only 7 seniors on the Auburn squad, and they should come back with a very strong nucleus next year. Auburn, as you heard, has won the toss, and they took the goal on your left because it's 14-mile-an-hour wind at their back. Temperature will be 68 degrees. At game time, as Nebraska will be spreading out in receiving formation, and they're going to have 3 men deep. Frank Solich is going to be the middleman that you'll be spotting as the Orange Bowl queen and her court go off. Solich, Hahn, and Kent McClune will be the deep men. And Franklin Fuller will probably do the kicking off, a sophomore who is a kickoff specialist for Auburn. Remember now, Auburn is the team in white, and Nebraska in dark red jerseys will show up dark in your screen. Franklin Fuller, a sophomore, getting ready to tee up the ball. The middleman, Frank Solich, has averaged 28 yards on kickoff returns for Nebraska this year. There he is right along the goal line. He's number 45, and he's a scooter. He only weighs 156. Kent McClune is on the far side. He'll be number 32, and Bob Hahn, number 18, is on the near side. Every team has a different setup on kickoff returns. Most of them have 2 deep, but Nebraska 3. All right, now we're set, and we're underway. The Orange Bowl game as the kick comes to McClune on the 10. He is to the 20, 25, and down he goes on his own 26-yard line. The tackle made by Larry Rossett, number 30. The fullback, and a very tough fullback indeed for Auburn. So Nebraska takes over now. First down on their own 26-yard line.
Kurt, we should mention right here, you saw the official toss a ball out there. Not only do they trade balls to keep a clean one in there, but each team has its own preference on brand of football, and they demanded it, so they're using two types of balls in this game.
All right, in motion is Ross, the handoff, given off on a quick starter to Rudy Johnson, a fullback who has averaged better than 6 yards a clip this year, and he's tackled by Tucker Fredrickson, number 20, and Bill Cody, number 11. Tucker Fredrickson is the safety man for Auburn. He is the biggest safety man in college football, weighs 215, and he'll come up many times to make tackles at the line of scrimmage. That was a gain of 6, second down, 4 to go for the Cornhuskers in a wing tee. Ross out in motion, a keeper by Claridge, 35, 40. He's at the 50, Claridge at the 40. Claridge is on the way. Dennis Claridge, who on the second play of the game runs 68 yards for a touchdown and a quarterback keeper. He got a great block by 84, the sophomore in Tony Jeter. And it was Billy Edge, number 27, trying to knock him out of bounds, but he couldn't do it. All right, we'll have the try now. Tyson is going to attempt the kick. And it is good. And the score here at the Orange Bowl in Miami, Nebraska 7 and Auburn nothing. 8-yard line for Auburn. Auburn came back from behind 3 times this year. It's a team that doesn't lose its poise, or it wouldn't have had its 9-1 record. And we'll see how they do. They've been stunned on the second play from scrimmage. Nebraska scored. Auburn's ball on their 29, first down. You'll be watching the I formation. And Jimmy Seidel, the quarterback, second leading ground gainer in America. This is a stacked I, and they'll shift out of it with Rose on the wing now. In motion, there's a keeper by Seidel. On the quarterback sneak, he's out to the 32-yard line. A 3-yard gain. It'll be second down, 7 to go. The tackle made by Tony Jeter, number 84.
Now, you saw that play, this last play that Seidel just ran there. That's the identical play that Dennis Claridge went for the touchdown on 68 yards. I was going to say Claridge took a little bit from the Auburn book. He did. Motion away, and he runs to the opposite side.
Second down, Auburn, 7 to go. Straight handoff, given to Tucker Fredrickson. Fredrickson over his 35 to his 37-yard line, where Ron Mitchka hit him, number 54, the center of Nebraska. That Fredrickson boy was voted, he's number 20, voted the outstanding blocker of the Southeast Conference. Now with the ball on the 37-yard line, it is third down, 2 to go. Auburn in their own territory. Nebraska leading 7-0, 12 minutes, 18 seconds to play in the first period. There's the I formation. In motion is Rose. Seidel is hit and down. And storming through there is Jeter, the big sophomore end, number 84. What a charge he had. And we're going to have a punting situation now with Auburn on a 4-yard loss, back on their 33. They'll have a 4th and 6. John Kilgore, who leads the Southeast Conference in punting, averaging a little over 41 yards, one of the best kickers in the nation. There he is, John Kilgore, a junior from Atlanta. Frank Solich on the far side, and Bob Hahn near side, twin safety for Nebraska. He's kicking with the wind. He's got a good one out. It is taken by Solich on his 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. He's at the 50. He may go. He's got a blocker. He's at the 30. He's on the way. Solich will score. Now they call him stepping out. They're bringing him back. They had no signal that he stepped out, and now they're saying he stepped out. Solich had gone what looked like to everybody 67 yards, but it's no TD. They brought him back to the 42. There was no signal given as he went up that sideline, and you saw him go. So it's Nebraska's ball, first down on their 42-yard line. And this Nebraska team is explosive. Nebraska leading 7-0. Out they come. Great handoff to Rudy Johnson, the fullback. Johnson brought down by by Don Heller, 62, the right tackle, and Larry Rawson, the fullback. The ball now is on the Nebraska 43-yard line, 2nd down, 7. Claridge, 14, will be a quarterback. Willie Ross, 21 at left half. Rudy Johnson, 31 at fullback, and Bob Hahn, 18 at right half. Unbalanced line right, you'll notice. There's Willie Ross. Ross to left half, out to the 49-yard line of Nebraska. He was brought down by Howard Simpson, the left end, and by Larry Rawson, the linebacking fullback.
He was caught just as he crossed the line there, but I think the viewers got a pretty good idea how quickly Ross starts. He really gets out of those starting blocks. He's probably the fastest man on the field, as we said.
All right, we have a 3rd and 3 for Nebraska on their own 49. That's Ross again. Over the 50 into Auburn territory, very close to a first down. Bill Cody, the linebacker, number 11, and Howard Simpson, the left end, number 84, made the stop. And we're going to have a timeout on the officials and a measurement. All right, here's a decision coming up now for Nebraska. They're leading 7-0 in the first quarter. They broke a 68-yard run from scrimmage and nearly broke the punt return. Just a matter of inches, or Nebraska would be out in front by 2 touchdowns. And they have a 4th down now and inches to go. Nebraska on the Auburn 48 and they're going for it. Claridge to Rudy Johnson, the fullback, and he's got it. Rudy Johnson, a senior from Texas, goes to the Auburn 45, where it's a first down, Nebraska.
You've had an indication of what that 25 pounds per man of that Nebraska line means in here. On 3rd down, when Claridge called for a simple off-tackle play, put a couple of backs ahead of it, and nearly picked up 3 yards on one try there. That's sheer power.
All right, in motion is Ross. The handoff is to the fullback again, Rudy Johnson. You'll notice the quick starting of this fullback. Johnson is into that line right out of those starting blocks, and that's why he's compiled an amazing average on his carries from scrimmage. The stop made by Bill Van Dyke, number 60, and Steve Osborne, number 65, the left guard. Nebraska's on the Auburn 44, 2nd down, 9. In the Orange Bowl, Nebraska leading 7-0, 9 minutes to go in the first quarter. They're in the slot formation. Claridge on his first pass completes it to Jeter. Tony Jeter, the right end, number 84. With a little look in and a jump brought down on the 35-yard line of Auburn. Paulie looks like he's about a foot short.
On that slant in or look in that he just threw there, he fired it plenty hard. That's exactly what he should do because he's a quick spot. Right on the button.
3rd down, a foot to go for Nebraska's quarterback keeper by Claridge. Claridge is nearly away again. Dennis Claridge, who wears contact lenses, number 14, a senior from Robbinsdale, Minnesota, is finally pulled down on the Auburn 23 by Billy Edge, the defensive left halfback, number 27. So Nebraska first down on the Auburn 23, and so far Nebraska is dominating this game.
I'd also mention Mr. Claridge weighs a neat little 222 pounds. This is a pretty big quarterback.
We have 2 good-sized quarterbacks here today. On first down, a handoff is off to Bob Hahn on a comeback after he faked to the fullback, Johnson up the middle. And Hahn, rolling behind that 230-pound Nebraska line, is stopped on the Auburn 18 by George Rose, number 44, and by Larry Rawson, number 30. 2nd down and 5 to go as our overhead shot here from ABC picks up the spacing in the forward wall for you now and the defensive setup. There goes Ross. He's at the 15 and he's down to the 10-yard line. Willie Ross, a senior from Helena, Arkansas. Very fast, runs the 100 under 10 and has averaged 5.5 a carry this year. Tackled by Tucker Fredrickson, the safety man of Auburn.
Nebraska, as we mentioned, taking advantage of that big weight advantage they have in the line. They have done nothing fancy up to now, just plain old solid football and grinding it out.
First down, Nebraska, just short of the Auburn 10. Claridge to the fullback on a dive, Rudy Johnson. Maybe got 2 yards to the Auburn 9-yard line. Stopped by the middle of that Auburn line. Steve Osborne and Bill Van Dyke, the 2 guards. Just over the 10. We'll call it second down, 8 to go. Nebraska is leading 7-0. 6 minutes, 20 seconds to go in the first quarter. And Nebraska's threatening. It's to Hahn. And Hahn is hit. Lost by Bucky Wade, number 83, a junior in from Springville, Alabama. A great charge by Wade, who, according to his coach, Shug Jordan, is one of the most underrated players on the team.
Isn't it interesting to note, too, that Wade popped through and made that tackle for the big loss, just the same as Jeter did on the other side of the line a few plays back when Auburn was running.
All right, Paul, it's third down, 13 now for Nebraska on the Auburn 14. Now let's see what they do on this third down play. Claridge is looking. His pass is nearly intercepted, not quite. It was hit in the air by Bill Cody, and then Tucker Fredrickson was diving for it but couldn't get to it. The pass was intended for Tony Jeter. And now here's a fourth down and 13 to go for Nebraska on the Auburn 14-yard line. Willie Ross has come out, and Fred Duda, a sophomore quarterback, has gone in, and the field goal kicker, Dave Tyson, is in the lineup. They're going to spot the ball at the 21 with Duda holding. Slight angle near sideline. This kick is up, and it is good. It's time out here at the Orange Bowl in Miami with the score, Nebraska 10, Auburn nothing. Kicking off will be Larry Tomlinson. Nebraska has their second unit in now. Tomlinson, number 83, is left in the lineup. Mickey Sutton and Jimmy Parton are deep for Auburn. Parton on the near side, Sutton on the far side. This is against the wind. It is coming to Parton. Quite a kick, and he's going to down it. He nearly ran it out. He was warned by Sutton, number 45, to stay in that end zone. It's a touchback, and Auburn will take over on their own 20-yard line with a first down.
Kurt, that was a pretty mammoth kick. That's a real strong wind down on that field, and he really booted that thing to get it into the end zone.
All right, Auburn has had this ball for only 4 plays in the game, as Nebraska's completely dominated this first quarter. So we'll see if Auburn can get going now. Jimmy Seidel, quarterback, in their shifty I formation. Closes the slot. And the keeper, penalty marker down. Let's go down and check this penalty. They'll bring the ball to the Auburn 25. Offside against Nebraska. And Auburn now has a first down and 5 on the Auburn 25. Doc Griffith's gone into fullback. Fumble and recovery by Auburn. Jimmy Seidel recovers his own fumble. Seidel's number 12. John Durbin, number 66, the left guard, a linebacker, and Freeman White, number 85, a left end. We're right in on him. That'll put the ball back on the 18 and make it second and 12 for Auburn.
I don't think Seidel ever got that ball cleanly from the center. He kind of was fumbling it as he came up from the center.
Sutton and Doc Griffith are deep. Here's Seidel on his favorite sprint out from center. He's to the 20, the 25. And Seidel, who gained more yards than any college quarterback in history by rushing this year, 1,006 yards. There he is, number 12, was brought down by Bernie McGinn. And you can see why he's a great ground gainer. He weighs 200. He's a high hurdler, and he can really sprint and roll out as he gets around those ends.
I think is the meat and potatoes of the Auburn attack right there, along with the fact that, as we mentioned prior to this, he can throw the ball without even setting his feet. He throws right on the dead run. You'll see it.
There's the eye again. First down Auburn on their own 30. Seidel on the option. Good lateral out to Mickey Sutton, number 45. The old quarterback option play, sliding down the line of scrimmage with the option of keeping or lateraling out. And Bruce Smith, 43, the fullback of Nebraska, made the tackle on the Auburn 33. Auburn now has a 2nd down 7. Nebraska's ahead in the Orange Bowl on ABC television by a score of 10-0, with 3 minutes, 35 seconds left to play in the first period. On the wing is Jimmy Parton. Seidel fading. The pass incomplete. Intended for Jim Ingle, number 82. It was being covered by Kent McClune, number 32. Third down now for Auburn, 7 to go. We want to remind you that ABC Television, Sunday, January 5th, presents the championship game of the American Football League. The San Diego Chargers, champs of the Western Division, against the Boston Patriots, the champs of the Eastern Division. Sunday, January 5th on ABC. Seidel rolling out. Gets to the 35, and he is met, but his forward motion will be stopped at his 38 or 39-yard line. Hitting him hard there was Bernie McGinn, number 76, who met him head on. Now we have the 2 safety men coming in for Nebraska. Frank Solich, number 45, will be on the field as Auburn comes up with a 4th and 2, and John Kilgore is going in punt formation. Solich on the far side, Kent McCune near side safety. And this boy is quite a college punter you're looking at right now, John Kilgore. 6 weeks of the season, he led the nation in punting. He booms it away to McClune, who grabs it on the 24. McClune's at the 30, and McClune is stopped along his own 35-yard line by Mike Elford, number 56, the center. Jim Ingle had kicked 35 yards. It'll be a first down for Nebraska on Nebraska's 35-yard line. And so far, Auburn has not been able to cross the 50-yard line against this big, rugged Nebraska line that outweighs Auburn nearly 25 pounds. Complete capacity here today, over 72,000. Temperature nearly 70 degrees. Dennis Claridge at quarterback. First down, Nebraska. Claridge off to Willie Ross. Ross stopped on his 36-yard line, a yard gain. Tackle made by Bill Cody, who's playing a fine game, backing up that Auburn line. He's number 11.
Now you can see that Auburn line is getting a little bit oriented, too. They were simply overpowered the first few minutes by this big line. Big, fast line for Nebraska, I should say. This is an even ball game. You wait to see.
2nd down, 9 to go. In motion is Ross. A fake by Claridge. It goes complete. There's a penalty marker down. Kent McClune. We have a penalty marker down, and now let's go down and find out what this is all about.
Okay.
Holding penalty called on Freeman White, number 85, on Nebraska. And here's the step off. 15-yarder. There's the holding sign by referee Pat Haggerty. This puts the ball back on the Nebraska 21.
2nd down.
Our second penalty of the game. It's been a fast-moving game. Just a shade over a minute left to play in the first quarter. And Nebraska has a 2nd down. 24 yards to go. Ross in motion. Claridge giving it back to his halfback, McClune. And McClune's brought down short of the 30. Kent McClune, who runs the 100-yard dash, he's number 32, runs the 109.6, the junior from Broken Bow, Nebraska. According to Bob Devaney, one of the better all-around players on the Nebraska team. Mike Helms was the man that brought him down for Auburn.
Notice how both ball clubs are running away from motion, and in simple terms what that means, everybody on the ball club seems to go one direction and the ball carrier comes back the opposite direction. They catch a lot of people flat-footed that way. Both teams are using it.
Nebraska that unbalanced line right. Ross in motion. They give it off to the fullback, Johnson, and Johnson is stopped at the Nebraska 33. Auburn has called Johnson the back they must stop today, and you can see them keying on him inside those tackles. Rudy Johnson, who has led the team. Here's the War Eagle, and you'll hear the famous War Eagle cry of Auburn today.
It was interesting to note the last throw that Claridge made was to the outside to his right halfback, because on the previous drive he had a man come in and then toss to the outside and found him open later. We'll talk about this.
That's the end of the first quarter of the Orange Bowl Football Classic with the score. Nebraska 10 and Auburn nothing. Auburn will have a single safety. George Rose, and there's Dennis Claridge to punt the Rose. Claridge has averaged 33 yards a boot this year. He gets it away. Behind a strong wind, Rose takes it on his 30. Fumbles, and it is a Nebraska recovery. Nebraska recovery by Tony Jeter, number 84. This Jeter has been all over the field today. He's just a sophomore. His brother was Bobby Jeter, who used to play at Iowa. Jeter is from Weirton, West Virginia. And you can imagine what he's going to be in the next 2 years if his play today is indicative of his ability, which is outstanding. So Nebraska, forcing Rose into that fumble, takes over now with a first down on the Auburn 22-yard line. And a timeout. The officials talking things over, and they're checking in a new unit, Paul.
I don't think we should blame Rose too much on that. He made that common mistake that so many people do when they're very anxious. He began to run just a little bit ahead of the time he caught the ball. What I was going to mention on this passing situation, though, I have an idea Claridge, after this recovery, will probably start with some running, but when he passes, on the previous drive, he had Jeter out at a flanker, brought him inside, swung his right half to the outside, and found him open after that play. I think that's what he'll come back to when he throws.
First down, Nebraska on the Auburn 22. A double fake by Claridge, throwing deep to Jeter, and he can't quite get him. He was there. He was 2 steps beyond Billy Edge, number 27, and you saw some beautiful faking by Claridge, faking twice. One on a halfback slant, and the other one on the fullback up the middle.
Second down!
Second down now for Nebraska, and they are on the Auburn 22-yard line. Nebraska's leading by a score of 10-0. Nebraska led the nation in rushing from scrimmage. They've only scored 2 touchdowns out of 36 by passes this year. Here's a keeper by Claridge, and he's brought down on the 21-yard line. Howard Simpson, number 84, the left end, voted the lineman of the year in the Southeast Conference, made the tackle.
You know, we're talking about this big Nebraska line. Mr. Simpson goes 6'5", 232. He's not any pygmy out there either for Auburn. He's quite a big end.
Right, Paul. He's from Marietta, Georgia, and a senior. Third down now, 9 to go. Willie Ross. Ross is stopped at the 19, and as Paul Crispin pointed out, the Auburn line now has been digging in since the middle of the first period and is not being pushed back as much. They have very good lateral pursuit, by the way. Now it's 4th down for Nebraska. They're on the Auburn 19. They have a 4th and 7. They've already kicked 1 field goal in the game, and they have Dave Tyson in again. With Fred Duda, the sophomore quarterback, number 10 to hold. The ball will be spotted on the Auburn 26. Slight angle, as you can see on an overhead crane shot from the near side. There's the boot. And this one is good. Tyson is kicked 2 now. It is time out here at the Orange Bowl with the score. Nebraska 13 and Auburn nothing. Larry Tomlinson will kick off for Nebraska, number 83. George Rose on the far side, Tucker Frederickson near side are waiting to receive the kick. Nebraska kicking off with a win, and Tomlinson booms that one into the end zone. Frederickson is going to down it for the touchback. Auburn's ball, first down. Well, let's see if Auburn can get on track. They have had problems since the opening kickoff. They've had to punt. Their timing has been off with the exception of a couple of rollouts by Seidel. They have not been able to get going. They have fumbled a punt, given Nebraska another opportunity. And Nebraska has cashed in, Paul, on every chance today.
Yes, and now, Kurt, if they have to punt in a couple of downs here, because they're against that wind now. They won't boom that long.
There's their I formation with Jimmy Seidel running the team. Pitch out and reverse to Rose, and Rose is brought down, throws the ball. How's that for a fast play? Seidel caught the ball. Seidel pitched out to his fullback, who then handed off to his halfback, Rose, and Rose, while almost horizontal with the ground, and as you saw with his jersey nearly being torn off, completed one of the most amazing passes we have seen this year.
He had an assignment to throw, Kurt, and he threw, even though he was in the air and horizontal.
The pass must go on, and it did. Auburn's ball, first down on Auburn's 30. Maybe this will be a little turning point psychologically, but look at that big Nebraska line. Roll in there on Larry Robson, the fullback. That was Larry Kramer, 75. These guys are big and they move. Ball's on the 29-yard line. Jeter was in there again. What a game this Jeter is playing for Nebraska. This sophomore in, number 84. Phenomenal, 203 pounds, 18 years old. He's been all over the field today, doing everything. It looks like a future all-time great for Nebraska. Second down, 11 to go. Here's Jimmy Seidel on his favorite rollout. Seidel gets over the 35. Look at those long strides, very deceptive. He's going much faster than you think. Any man with long strides doesn't seem to be going fast, but he is. So All-American Jimmy Seidel, who still has another year to go in Auburn's football, brings the ball out to the 36-yard line of Auburn. They have a 3rd and 4 and a timeout.
I think he's going over to have some equipment fixed, Kurt. He's got a shoulder pad hanging out there.
While they do, Paul, we'd like to remind everyone that ABC's exclusive coverage of the 9th Winter Olympic Games begins on January 29th. Be sure to see all the thrilling competition, drama, and beauty that will unfold daily throughout the 2-week period of the Games, starting January 29th, exclusively on the ABC television network.
There you see him changing a jersey. We have often spoken to you through the seasons about tear-away jerseys. He is wearing one. That's George Rose, so that he can't be tackled by his jersey. The theory is he'll run out from under his clothes if somebody just catches him by the jersey. This, however, is the difficulty of it. So often ball carriers are in tatters that they spend more time repairing the jersey and keeping their equipment in than they do in playing ball.
As play is resumed, it'll be 3rd down. 4 yards to go for Auburn on their own 36-yard line. And so far, they have been unable to dent Nebraska territory. Nebraska's leading in the Orange Bowl, 13-0. 11 minutes, 12 seconds to go in the first half. Rose is out wide as a flanker. Seidel throwing. Incomplete. A pass intended for Bucky Wade, number 83, was being covered by Bob Hahn. And now it's a 4th down. Auburn has 4th and 4, and if they go into a punt formation, they'll be kicking against about a 15-mile-an-hour wind. John Kilgore will be going in for the punting, and Nebraska will be getting their safety men in just a moment, as soon as they check and see what Auburn's going to do. 4th and 4. Solich and Hahn are dropping back. There's Kilgore in punt formation. Here's the kick against the line. Oh, beauty. Taken by Solich in the 20. He's dangerous. Penalty markers are down. He's at the 30. Look at that little guy go. Frank Solich, who broke a leg this summer and missed some of the early game. Well, we have a penalty marker down. Solich, who nearly broke one for 67 yards earlier in the game, but just stepped out of bounds. That's a clipping penalty against Nebraska. It was a very obvious slip from the stands.
You know, we just witnessed a very scientific kick there, Kurt. People always talk about hitting a ball and so forth low into the wind. That's exactly what the punter did there. That ball didn't get over 15 yards off the ground. He really drilled that thing low up the field, and he got pretty good yardage on it.
Ball, when he had the wind at his back in the first quarter, he was hoisting it high.
Booming the high one, that's right, like he should do.
That's why this kid has led the Southeast Conference in punting. for the last 2 years. Nebraska's ball now, and for the first time, Nebraska is not in good field position. Nebraska's on their own 10-yard line. Nebraska leading 13-0. Claridge at quarterback. Claridge keeps the ball and is stopped on the 14-yard line. You have two big quarterbacks today. Dennis Claridge going 222 for Nebraska, and Jimmy Seidel 205 pounds for Auburn.
And Claridge, being just like all quarterbacks, not forgetting the successful things. That's the play he went 68 yards to score on. He's not going to forget that for a while, and he comes right back with it. This time Auburn's a little more alert to that play.
Frank Solich has stayed in at halfback for Nebraska, left halfback. Second down, 6. This is little Solich, and he's met at the 15-yard line, maybe the 16. Some of the Nebraska bench thought he was hit rather hard. That's the idea of the game. Steve Osborne, number 65, and Larry Rawson, number 30, came up to hit him. Now Nebraska has the ball on their 16-yard line. 3rd down and 4. There's Steve Osborne from Birmingham. Now, of course, Auburn wants to stop him on this 3rd down play. Jeter is spread right. Solich again. Ooh, how he was hit by that big safety man, 215-pound Tucker Fredrickson. Penalty markers down. Offside against Nebraska. Talking it over with George Rose. There's Tucker Fredrickson, a safety man who comes up and makes many tackles at the line of scrimmage. Penalty being declined because Nebraska now is forced into a 4th down situation on their 17. They'll have a 4th and 3, and George Rose is drifting back into a single safety. He fumbled the last time on a punt. Nebraska, remember, will be kicking with the wind. Dennis Claridge in punt formation. Block, gets the high one to take advantage of the wind. Rose called for the fair catch, goes down on the 37. Auburn's ball, 1st down. And Auburn gained a yard on the exchange of kicks. Well, Jimmy Seidel will come in now to run the Auburn team. 9 minutes, 10 seconds to go in the 1st half. For late tuners in, or those that are switching around in the second play of the game from scrimmage, Dennis Claridge raced 68 yards on a quarterback keeper for a Nebraska touchdown. Nebraska has kicked 2 field goals, one from the 22-yard line of Auburn, the other from the 26. Auburn has not crossed the 50-yard line yet, but they look like they're gaining a little momentum as the game progresses. Seidel's quick pass is complete to Howard Simpson. They look in. Simpson, the big end, is dropped on the Auburn 48.
That is the perfect example of what Kurt Gowdy says, a look-in pass. It's exactly what it says. The end steps across the line of scrimmage and looks in at his quarterback. Toss right to him over the line.
Oh, we had a flag down on the play. There's Jimmy Seidel, the All-American quarterback of Auburn.
It'll be 1st down and about, maybe 13 or so. Okay. We're going to spot the foul. All right.
The holding penalty against Auburn. A tough break for Auburn as they had completed their first pass. This puts the ball back now on the Auburn 35-yard line.
That's a real tragedy for Auburn because they caught Nebraska flat-footed, passing on 1st down, and were apparently out of the hole right there up to about the 50-yard line. Now they're back in their own territory once again.
They have a 1st down, Paul. 12 to go. Auburn on their own 35. Rose is on the wing. George Rose. Seidel being rushed by Jeter. There's that sophomore, Tony Jeter again, number 84. And that ball's back in the 25. Paul, this kid can really move.
He can. He gets in there fast, Kurt, and there's reason to believe, however, there is no blocker for him on that play, and I'll tell you why. The Nebraska coaching staff told us that they didn't figure to catch Seidel from the back because he runs quickly to the sidelines. In this case, he did not do that, however. He started to the right, but then he drifted backwards.
Second down now, 22 yards to go. Auburn on their own 25. Rose in motion. Seidel on a sprint out. Seidel's at the 25, and he is driven out just along his 30 by John Kirby, the linebacker. Kirby, number 68. And you can see Nebraska knows that the Auburn big threat all year have been those sprint outs from center by Jimmy Seidel, and they're trying to defend the flanks. We're on the 30-yard line now of Auburn, third down and 17. The score on ABC's coverage of the Orange Bowl game is Nebraska 13, Auburn nothing. 7.5 minutes to play in the first half. Another sprint out by Seidel. And he is firing deep to Fredrickson. Knocked down. Double team by Dick Callahan, number 80. Callahan knocked it down, and Maynard Smith, 22, was there. But I think you can see the strong arm that Jimmy Seidel has. He threw that ball from his about 20-yard line all the way to the Nebraska 30 against the wind. But Auburn now is in a fourth down situation with 17 yards to go. And once again, their outstanding punter, John Kilgore, is coming in. We'll have Nebraska dropping back with Bob Hahn, number 18, and Frank Solich, 45. Here's the kick against the wind. It is taken by Hahn on his 28. Hahn trying to pick up some blocking, gets to the 35, 40, 50, and he slipped and fell. Nebraska had the peel back, the line peeling back, and he's unhappy. Hahn thought he might have gone. Jeter threw a great block for him, and a man is down, Howard Simpson. Jeter really laid somebody low with a crunching block, this phenomenal sophomore end of Nebraska. Oh?
Kurt, I'm sure it's just the wind knocked out of him. He was caught from the blind side and hit just about in the chest with a good solid shoulder. And it really caught him. You could see the wind go right out of his sails. I don't think he's hurt. I hope not.
That's right. Let's take a unofficial look at the statistics so far. Nebraska has 4 first downs. Auburn has 2. Auburn's attempted 4 passes, completed 1. Nebraska's attempted 3 passes, completed 1. And in the yards rushing, I think pretty well tells the story so far. Unofficially, Nebraska's picked up 129 yards rushing to 21 yards for Auburn. That's Howard Simpson. He's all right. And as Paul Crispin said, just the wind knocked out of him. The Southeast Conference Lineman of the Year, a big senior from Marietta, Georgia, and a very fine football player, and one of the co-captains today. Auburn has fumbled twice, lost the ball once. They have punted for an average of around 40 yards today with 2 of the punts against the wind. Nebraska's punted twice for about 42 yards. 3 penalties against Nebraska, 1 penalty against Auburn. Nebraska's ball now on the Auburn 46. Nebraska leading 13-0. Look at the power of that Dennis Claridge that time. He just, as you saw, lowered his head and carried 3 men with him. 222-pound fullback who missed 3 games this year with an injury, replaced by a sophomore named Fred Duda from Chicago's Weber High School, who did quite a job. And here's the second unit coming in for Auburn. I want to remind you, Sunday, January 5th, Paul Crispin and myself will be in San Diego's Balboa Stadium to televise the championship game of the American Football League. San Diego Chargers with one of the most exciting backfields in pro football. Keith Lincoln, Paul Lowe, there's the oxygen on the Auburn sideline. Lance Allworth, Tobin Rhodes, Boston Patriots featuring Babe Pepperilli, Larry Guerin, and their great defense. Sunday, January 5th, ABC Television. The handoff is to Kent McLuhan. McLuhan on a cutback has got a first down as he moves to the Auburn 32-yard line. Kent McLuhan from Broken Bow, Nebraska. Number 32. Tackle was made by Kilgore and Parton. Nebraska's first down. They have 5 first downs in the game. The 2 for Auburn. Nebraska on the Auburn 33. Fumble. We have a penalty marker down, too. Penalty marker down at the holding penalty against Nebraska. And the fumble. Holding against Nebraska declined. First down, Auburn on the fumble. Ernie Warren, number 63, recovered the fumble. A third-string guard, Ernie Warren from Marietta, Georgia. Marietta has produced quite a few football players here for Auburn University. So it's Auburn's ball now, first down on the Auburn 31-yard line. Jimmy Seidel again at quarterback. In the slot is Jimmy Parton. Seidel on a keep out to the 35 of Auburn, hit by Monty Kiffin. Now here's an example of how big this Nebraska line is. Lloyd Voss is out. He's the starting right tackle at 247. His replacement, Monty Kiffin, weighs 253. The other two tackles, Kramer's 234, Jones is 232. Second down. 6 to go for Auburn. Seidel on the handoff with a penalty marker down to Mickey Sutton, number 45. Sutton gets it to the 40, but we have a penalty against Auburn. Chuck Kepke made the tackle, number 82 for Nebraska. Let's check this penalty.
Second and about 3. No, third down and about 3. Second and about 11. Second and all righty.
That's a motion penalty against Auburn, and you heard the option being explained to the Nebraska team. This puts the ball back on the Auburn 30-yard line. Second down, 11 to go. The score, Nebraska 13, Auburn nothing. 5:28 to go in the first half. 30th annual Orange Bowl game. Perfect football weather here. Temperature 70. They sprint out by Seidel, and he's getting some room of penalty markers down. Seidel brings it over the 35, but another penalty marker's down. Freeman White slanted in to make the tackle. Once again, it's motion against Auburn. Backfield in motion.
Well, there he marks off the penalty. Kurt, this is shaping up as one of those days, at least for this quarter with Auburn, that every time something is done well, a penalty comes up. There are those days you feel like you're snake bit, but generally it's over at the end of a quarter at least. I hope it doesn't go on for the whole ball game for their sake.
Auburn coming up with only 7 seniors on their entire squad. Had a surprising and a very satisfying season. They're behind right now. We'll see whether they can rally in this game. Jimmy Seidel throws a pass. It is complete. It is caught. Number 82 caught it, Jim Ingle from Birmingham, Alabama. And you saw Seidel throw with 2 men on him that time. Kent McClune was trying to cover Ingle. That puts the ball now on the 36-yard line of Auburn. Makes it third down and 5 to go. About 5 minutes to go in the first half. Third and 5. Seidel's pass is good, and that should be a first down. The pass to Jim Ingle again. Kent McClune stopped him. We have another flag down. Another penalty marker down. Now let's go down. Let's see what this one's about now. First, the foul's on Nebraska. That's Jimmy Seidel standing alongside referee Haggerty. And here is the penalty and the mark-off that for the first time in the game will put Auburn in Nebraska territory. So now Auburn trailing 13-0. Paul, if they can get some momentum going.
That is a real big break for them, Kurt, because they get the penalty plus the gain. And you must realize now he recovered 2 penalties, picked up all that yardage, and still got his first down.
Auburn on Nebraska's 40, first down. Seidel taking the handoff, was nearly hit twice behind the line of scrimmage and still got a couple of yards out of it. You can see why he finished second in the nation in ground gaining, even though he's just a quarterback and not a halfback or fullback. He runs or keeps or handles that ball about 65% of the time in the Auburn offense. It is second down, 8 to go for Auburn on the Nebraska 38.
Your attention, please. 16 to
Penalty markers down. Pass is complete to number 45, Mickey Sutton, who had a fractured skull in a freak accident last summer, fell out of a pickup truck, and nearly had his playing career ended.
A flag on the play, however.
Illegal position or procedure against Auburn. Number 80 is Dick Callahan. And Nebraska is going to accept the penalty.
Kurt, I think I can tell you what's happening here. Obviously, there is something wrong with Seidel's signal calling rhythm. Possibly, they cannot hear the signals out on the flanks particularly. It's a very noisy crowd. Or else somebody's jumping off, is not getting the rhythm of this thing, and believe me, they'll get that straight at the half real quick because they've had too many penalties of the same type. It must be some primary mistake. Somebody will rectify this.
Second down now, 13 to go for Auburn on Nebraska's 42. Here's Seidel on the sprint out. And they're defending him that time. Monty Kiffin, number 77, the big tackle from Lexington, Nebraska. And Mike Kennedy, number 69, a left guard, a third stringer. Brought Seidel down for no gain on the Nebraska 42. It'll be third down and 12 to go. There's Shug Jordan, the Auburn coach. 13 years at Auburn, has done an amazing job there. And he calls this team, and this year, his most satisfying season and the shortest season. Because they really didn't expect much at Auburn this year with a young team. But this team really came through. Third down, 12 to go. Nebraska 42. He is firing deep. It is nearly intercepted and not quite by Callahan, number 80, from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, senior end, who plays defense. Nebraska gives up the ball. The pass intended for Jim Ingle. And now Auburn has a fourth down and 12 to go. Frank Solich, the safety specialist, is coming on the field for Nebraska. John Kilgore, the punter of Auburn, will be in. And he's dropping back in punt formation.
If it's inside the 10, let it go.
Solich, 45, and McEwen, 32, the double safety. Angling for the near Coffin corner. The beauty. Oh, he nearly chipped that one dead on the 1 foot line, Paul.
He did indeed. And Kurt, one thing we should mention there, Solich made a great block because there was a white jersey there who could have tagged that ball down. He kept him away from it.
Nebraska's ball, first down on the Nebraska 20-yard line. Nebraska, the champs of the Big 8 Conference, leading Auburn University by a score of 13-0 with 3 minutes to go. Dennis Claridge, the quarterback, on a quarterback keeper, raced 68 yards for a Nebraska touchdown, the second play from scrimmage. And then Nebraska added 2 field goals. That's McEwen, the halfback. And he's spilled out of bounds on the Nebraska 25 by Mickey Sutton, a defensive halfback of Auburn. A gain of 5, second down, and 5 to go. At halftime, we'll have the very famous Orange Bowl Spectacular. Ernie Seiler, who always puts on phenomenal shows there. And we'll also have videotape reruns of the outstanding plays of the first half. Some of our videotape reruns will be in slow motion, so you can really analyze the big plays of the first half. There goes that fullback, Rudy Johnson, with that quick start. Now, something interesting, keep an eye on him here. He has calcium deposits in his ankle. And Bob Devaney says sometimes he'll be limp. There he is. He limped slightly, and he said, you think that was his last play of the game. And next time he'll come out and he'll crack one for 10, 15 yards. Nebraska has a first down on the Nebraska 30. 2.5 minutes to play in the first half. Nebraska's ahead, 13-0. McEwen in motion. It's a keeper by Claridge. He throws the pass, and it is complete on the 43-yard line to Chuck Depsey, 82. Now, Billy Edge Oh, that was interesting. Edge momentarily had an idea maybe to cut in front and try and intercept that, but then said maybe I better play it safe.
There's always that decision to be made by a defensive man, whether to throw caution to the winds and try to cut inside of that receiver. If you pick off that interception, of course, you have nothing but clear territory ahead of you. You get a touchdown. But if you miss, he has nothing ahead of him but clear territory. So you have to play a little cozy sometimes.
Also, Nebraska, Paul, with that 13-point lead. Imagine you took that into account. Handoff to McClune, who counters from his right halfback position. Kent McClune. Second down, 8 to go. Nebraska on their 45. Claridge is looking. He is throwing deep to Callahan. This is late, and what a save by Tucker Fredrickson, number 20. He just dove at that ball carrier, and I'll tell you, Dick Callahan had it in his hands. And Fredrickson is saying, oh, only by an eyelash. You could just hear him say, we were most fortunate on that one. Well, that's the kind of a safety man that Fredrickson's been all year. There's a kid, Paul, that 80, that Callahan has played quite a game on defense and offensively when they've had him in there.
Very fine going both ways. His coaching staff told us this. I want to mention one other thing, too, about Claridge. He's not supposed to be any Otto Graham, but I haven't seen him throw a bad ball yet. He's right on the mark every throw.
Here's Claridge again. Snaps that one off. Incomplete to number 85, Freeman White, and a near pickoff by Auburn's 20, Tucker Fredrickson.
That's the play we just discussed. This time, Fredrickson elected to cut inside of the receiver and make the try for the interception, and he missed. Luckily, the receiver dropped it.
Well, it's interesting. Claridge has been going for the score here with 1:17 to go, and now they're forced into a punt formation. And they'll have to give up the ball up to Auburn, and Auburn will have a chance maybe to score. George Rose is a single safety. Claridge in punt formation. He boots it high for punt coverage. And the clock will stop. It's out of bounds. It'll be along the Auburn 20-21 yard line. Auburn will put the ball in play with 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining in the first half with the score Nebraska 13 and Auburn nothing.
Kurt, we just have a note here from the Cotton Bowl. Texas is leading Navy 21-0 at the half.
This is an interesting wire, Paul, from an old friend of mine and a great all-time football player at the University of Nebraska. Cowboy Roy Pesh, who you played against, played on Nebraska's Rose Bowl team, and he's looking at the game out in Scottsdale, Arizona.
And a pretty tough ball player out there.
He was a blocking back in the single wing. One of the all-time greats in Nebraska football. Jimmy Seidel goes down on the 19-yard line. Bonnie Kiffin, second-string tackle Kiffin, has been playing very well for Nebraska, number 77.
One thing is noticeable about the Nebraska defense. They are very obviously pointed towards the flanks. They know Seidel likes to run wide and then either run or throw, and their defense is geared in the same way, not too much up the middle. The same is true of passing. Anytime he throws down the middle, which is only once, there's been a man wide open, but they're covered on the outside.
Here's Seidel on a rollout, throws into the flat, incomplete. The passer, Bucky Wade, number 83. Bob Hahn was there, number 18, an early intercept. And now it is third down, 11 for Auburn on the 19. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the locker rooms at half. And they're really keying in on All-American Jimmy Seidel to keep him from going outside today. Third down, 11. There's that pitch out of reverse to George Rose. Rose throws. Completes it at the 25-yard line, as twice they've completed the same play. Bucky Wade caught the ball, and John Durbin, the left guard, made the tackle. That's the first half of the Orange Bowl Football Classic here in Miami, Florida. The score is Nebraska 13 and Auburn nothing. And now it's time for Adventure, brought to you by your Quality Buick dealer.